identity is the future of almost all of it, right? So I think payments and it comes down to authentication of the individual. So the reason Square is so good at it is because there's a number of hardware and software elements all linked to me, right? So initially there's the MISDN on my SIM card, then there's the hardware of the phone, then there's the pin into the software, not only the OS, but then the pin into the application. Then there's all the registration information, my name, my address, my payment information, etc. Then there's my face, and then finally there's my geolocation. So they actually know where I am physically. It's the exact same on the merchant side. So the merchant, same thing, MISDN, hardware, software, registration information, location, and facial recognition. When I enter the shop, and I'm sorry I didn't get into the details of it because I didn't have time, but basically when I enter the shop, my face shows up on the iPad of the merchant. They see me enter. It shows my last purchase, my last 5 purchases, it shows how often I come in, all these loyalty aspects that the merchant can now use to say, hey, Roy, welcome back, latte, etc. And that's why it's so secure. I mean, you're talking 10, 12 security factors, including your face. Like you'd have to pull off some sort of Mission Impossible thing to defraud that system. I mean, I don't know how you would defraud that system. It would be very, very difficult to do. And again, it's all around identity, right? I mean, I think we're going to see a lot more biometrics. You're going to see, already my Android device, I pick it up and it looks at me and it unlocks using facial recognition. There's a bigger picture here, which for me is about the city-state. So I believe actually that the geographic borders and regions that we have aren't going to maintain over time. So I'm a citizen of London more than I am a citizen of England or the UK. And I am pretty confident you're going to see the urbanization of the world such that the cities have more power than the actual regions in which they exist. And the other thing that's happening, so one is the rise of the city-state, and the second thing is transportation, the ease of transportation, the ability to move around the planet more fluidly. And as laws and regulations enable and empower commerce, people will just go there. There's no such thing as disconnected anymore, right? I had a great example. I have a buddy who lived in the UK for a long time. His kids were in school, et cetera, and he found a job in Bermuda. And his kids at the time were like 9, 12, and 14 or something like that. And I said, oh, like, are the kids bummed out? Are they really, they're going to leave all their friends and blah, blah, blah? And he's like, not even close. It was like a party at their school. He said they never lose touch with any friends. Yeah. So they were going to an international school already where students are turning over all the time. The kids, all of the kids, were happy that they now had a resource in Bermuda. And they're not going to lose touch with them. They're on Skype and Facebook and blah, blah, blah. Like that whole, like our world where moving, I'm a great example. We've been in the UK 7 years, and I would attribute a lot of our ability to stay to Skype video. My kids see their grandparents about every week. And my mother's become an incredible entertainer. She's pulling things from outside of the window. She's got puppets and stories and she's keeping them engaged more than Sabibis can. She's like, and that Skype video experience, there's no stranger anxiety. When we go home, there's no stranger anxiety. And so I think the regulators, to get back to your core question, the ease of movement physically and the ease of connectivity digitally means that, okay, you're going to screw me here, I'll go work in, the Canary Islands, or I'll go work out of, because there's going to be full connectivity everywhere and high speed. So if geographically being here means you're going to tax me or you're going to clamp down on me, fine, I won't be here. I'll go to another city. In fact, someone was saying, I think it was last night, someone was saying there's more in common between a citizen of New York, London, and Shanghai than we have in common with someone from York on Kent or whatever. I mean, from a local village. You have a more common mentality, bond, attitude, approach to commerce, and approach to the world with urban dwellers globally than they do within their own country with people who speak the same language.
So I guess a real key element to this is the crowd really turns the world into a test environment, if you like. So where you have local stores or you have any elements like Starbucks, for example, where you need people to be present in stores, have you got the capability to provide those testers there? Because the crowd can provide that for you. They're providing the test environment, they're providing the users, they're providing the expertise, and they're everywhere. So I should have started with thank you. Yes, I'm glad that you've chosen to move forward with that. But ultimately, the crowd it's an immense resource. We've tested with Starbucks. We've been a part of what they've done with mobile payments. We're able to get everywhere, and we're going there with our own devices. We're taking an in-the-wild approach.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that the machine-to-machine communication will far, far exceed, in terms of volume, the human-to-human communication. No doubt, no doubt. I mean, one way to look at Square, I mean, you know, the only human interaction required in Square is that the merchant looks at my face on the iPad and looks at my face and says yes. And I foresee you could have merchants who say, yeah, you know what, as long as Square tells me that that device is in the store, let's just speed it up. From 12 to 2, let's not require the yes. If Square tells me the buyer's in the store, you know, yeah. Blah, blah, blah. So, and that's a machine-to-machine.
Yeah, and it gets debited. Yeah.
And it gets debited automatically. Yeah, I mean, I think payments are going to become a lot more easily authenticated around identity. And even PayPal already. So PayPal today, I can make a purchase. Within the next 2 weeks, I can decide to change how that payment was made. So at the time, I paid with my card. But if I go in within 2 weeks, I can move it to my bank account or move it to a prepaid card or maybe use my stored value balance. Or I can actually adjust payments post hoc. You know, so that, you know, that flexibility will sort of continue. And even better, more importantly, so today, right, I'm not going to carry around a bunch of loyalty cards. I'm not going to carry 10, 100 loyalty cards. But if they're all in my passbook, whatever, carry 1,000. And very, very soon you will see functionality that lets your phone tell you what the best one to use is. So I'm trying to maximize my miles. I'm trying to maximize these points. I'm trying to use cash. I'm trying to control budget. I set parameters, and then when I walk in, it says for Starbucks, Roy wants to use his Starbucks card. For Tesco, he wants to use his Virgin Atlantic miles card. For his utility, he wants to use his bank account. And, you know, and it just takes care of it. And this freaks Visa and MasterCard out big time. But I don't think about it. I don't care about it. I set it up. It just does it automatically.
I think, yeah, that gap isn't there anymore because you actually have young kids who, you know, I mean, they pick up an iPad, they pick up an Android tablet, and they know how to use it. It's about pinch, zoom, gestures. But, you know, I look at my own family, and, you know, my dad for 10 years, I had to write 3 to 6 pages of press this button, press this button, press this button, and, open up Adobe and all sorts of stuff. Now he picks up his iPad. He watches Sky Go. He's had to upgrade his broadband 3 times now, where he's never had to do it. And you look at the sort of, the metrics, and Comscore's got some great stuff around the whole sort of silver surfers mechanism. They get it. They get mobile. And, to be perfectly honest, and that's why it's growing so quickly, is that what mobile allows you to do is, what Apple's done very well, is taken out the technology from the conversation, and it's sort of, I need a coffee. So okay, I go to my phone, I press a button, and I hold it up to the till, and that pays for the coffee. It's something that everyone can do. The challenge is, from my perspective as a company, is okay, how do I test that? How, for the example of the Google Glasses, is how do I test, a voice saying, take a picture of this room, now tweet it to everyone, or post it on Facebook without any interaction with a device. It's all voice.
Well, I think one of my points earlier was when it comes to testing and it comes to some of the specialist areas around security, we've got to hook people up with the right guys. You've got to make sure you're looking for the specialisms in the right place. ultimately, these things have got to be secure. If you get them out into a live environment and things go wrong, brand is absolutely damaged, trust is almost everything. Ease of use is probably still ahead of it. So how do we make sure? Well, it's got to be tested. How do we test it? We get out to the crowd, we do it in the labs, we make sure we do it in context to exactly what it is we're looking at. I'm not sure that exactly answers your question. But
I was going to say, I think Jim's right. You have to test it properly, and it's no longer, it's got to work, first of all. It's got to work the way that people expect it to. And the challenge is that, yeah, making it work is, you can get there, but it's got to work over a very short period of time because people are iterating these applications so quickly. And so you have to have the ability to intrinsically link development and test. And actually, you speak to a lot of people now, developers are becoming the testers, particularly in mobile world. And they need to be able to say, okay, I've developed this bit of code, I need to automatically test it now. And I need to do that tomorrow when I put my next code in, I want to put it in next code. So quality has got to be there. Then it's, well, okay, we've got to build this in a way that it's actually going to scale past more than 2 or 3 users using it a period of time. But I mean, you look at Apple at the moment, there's a lot of rumors that Apple will have fingerprint recognition in the latest version of the software. So that's coming from a biometrics perspective, with the view that it could reduce down the number of passwords that you might have to remember. But there's so much coming from that perspective, and it's the challenge is you have to find a way to test these applications, which is a way that you can automate it, you can compress the process of developing and testing, and just ensure that quality.
I think one last point around that as well, there's going to be a hell of a lot of interactions between different organisations. So from a retail perspective, say you've got a way to go and do your shopping, your mobile's in your pocket, it's all being paid for, and some 16-year-old picks up a bottle of whiskey, paid for, done, hold on a minute. Age verification issues, how do you handle that? Well, they could have their mother's credit card details associated to their account. So there's a lot more than just, is it secure, but, is it working right? Are the processes right? Is everybody talking to each other and understanding exactly who is using those details for those purchases?
There's already, kids are already taking chipped to the next level. So I somewhat jokingly said, you've been chipped, you all have a SIM card that identifies you globally, but it's not embedded in you. In Brazil, there are a number of high-end nightclubs that will chip their most loyal customers for free. And, well, there's 2 reasons for that. One is they're not wearing a lot of clothes. So it's hard to hold money and purses and phones and whatever. So literally, they embed a little chip under your skin, wherever you want, really. You can put it on your hip, you can put it wherever you want. They embed it in, and you have VIP access to the club, and you have an account where all your drinks are paid for, and the adoption of that is staggeringly high.